Hi, I'm Father Jim Forson, and before I begin the reflection, I have a favor to ask of you. It would really be a big help to this ministry and to all those who helped me in the production of it if you would, if you haven't yet, would subscribe. You can do so by clicking on that little button on the bottom of the screen. By subscribing, that doesn't mean you're going to get emails or will be contacted or any of that kind of stuff. It just really helps us in this ministry, knowing how many people are viewing, and helps us in our production of it. So, if you would do us the favor of being able to subscribe, it would be very much appreciated. Thank you. So today we celebrate the presentation in the temple. Years ago, when my niece, Jean Marie, was born, I flew to where my sister was living in Omaha for the baptism. And Jean was about, 3 months old, 4 months old, something like that. And one afternoon, when everybody was off to work and I was at Jan's home with her, she made the dreadful mistake of saying to me, "Jim, can you watch Jean? I'm going to have to run to the store real quick." And I said, "Sure. What could go wrong?" So, like the first 5-10 minutes or so were just fine. And then Jean just got the futzing, just making these little baby noises. And calm down now, Jean, calm down. Everything's fine. And then those little futzing noises became fussing noises, and the babies can make right before they're going to blow. And no, Jean, here, a pacifier? No, didn't want a pacifier. A bottle? No, didn't want the bottle. Shiny objects? No, nothing. Nothing was working. And then she really got to kicking on. Okay, let's pick her out of the crib and let's go for a little walk around the house. And look at the bookcase and look at the lamp and anything to keep her happy. And then finally, Jan came home. Thank God. And she said, "How did it go?" And of course I said, "No problem." Nobody wants to deal with fussy babies. I mean, you moms and dads, you come to church with the children, do you want them fussing in the pews? Nobody does. And we want quiet, we want peace, smooth sailing as far as the eye can see. And, for that matter, we don't just want it for babies, we want it for ourselves. Who doesn't want smooth sailing as far as the eye can see? Well, the religious community in the Catholic Church, the Augustinians, think differently. Their founder, St. Augustine, once wrote, "You have made us for yourself, O Lord, and restless will our hearts ever be until they rest in Thee." The Augustinians talk about the grace of a restless heart that is restless until it rests in God. And by resting in God, St. Augustine wasn't just simply talking about dying and going to be with the Lord. That's true, but it's not just that. I know my mom would say from time to time after Dad died, she'd say to me, "Jim, I don't know why God just doesn't take me." And one time I said to her, "Mom, God's got you by the ankles, but you got your fingers dug into the dirt." So St. Augustine isn't talking just about death and resurrection. He's talking about something more profound in our human experience. And that restless heart is what we hear in the gospel today. The two old people in the temple, Simeon and Anna. Simeon, an old priest who just knew that he was not going to die until he saw the Messiah. And he lived his life waiting, anticipating, yearning for that. And so did Anna. And Anna, a widow for many years, fasting and praying. Why? Because her prayer was that she would see the consolation of Israel. That is to say, the coming of the Savior that would restore Israel to what it once was. And into the temple came Mary and Joseph for her presentation. Because in Mosaic law, after a woman gave birth, she was ritually impure for 40 days. And then at the 40th day, she could come in to offer a sacrifice in the temple and then make herself once again ritually pure. And usually the sacrifice was a small lamb, unless you were poor. And if you were poor, then you could offer 2 small turtle doves. And the fact that Mary and Joseph were there with child Jesus and 2 small turtle doves meant they were poor. But they were observant Jews. They were pious. And Simeon sees this, and somehow he just knows. And he makes the unusual step of going to Mary and Joseph and asking to hold the child. And when Simeon held the child in his arms, he just knew it. This is the Messiah. And he gave forth that remarkable prayer. Now, Master, you may dismiss your servant to go in peace. Your word has been fulfilled. My eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared before all the nations, a light to enlighten the Gentiles and to give glory to your people, Israel. He knew then that he could die in peace. He saw salvation. And Anna, seeing this taking place, she knew this is the Messiah. And she told everybody about it. Those restless hearts of theirs had spent a lifetime waiting for just this moment. And that restless heart that yearns, that's our story too. The story of Anna and Simeon, we find ourselves there because we have restless hearts. Maybe a better way of putting it is we have hearts that are longing. And a longing heart isn't one that simply has an emptiness waiting to be filled up. Rather, longing is what is between two people who love each other and who are apart and don't want to be apart. They want to be with the one they love. And I think all of us understand that. All of us have longing hearts. And our longing hearts lead us to the temple of our own hearts. And in that temple, we find Simeon and Anna, Jesus and Mary and Joseph, all of these hearts that are longing. And we hear Simeon saying to Mary, you also will have a longing heart. Your son will be the rise and downfall of many, and a sword will pierce your heart. This longing heart carries with it joy as well as sadness, and that's true for us also. And in that temple of our heart is where we find that for which our heart is so restless. You know, on Christmas Day, I have the custom of coming into church at the very beginning of Mass, and I'm holding a living baby to represent the child Jesus. And I come down the aisle, and I hold the baby up high to proclaim the birth of the Savior. And I know that when I'm holding that baby up, every mother in that congregation is thinking the exact same thing. Don't drop the baby. But when I'm holding that baby in my arms, oh my goodness, my heart just wants to burst. When we enter into that temple of our hearts and we come to be at one with God, like Simeon holding the child Jesus in his arms, well then his prayer becomes our prayer. Now, Master, you may dismiss your servant to go in peace. My eyes have seen salvation. I am at one with God. My longing heart rests in him. I can die in peace. And then tomorrow I wake up and do it all over again.